my name is Miss Aspley and I'm the Woodwind instructor at Musselburgh Grammar School, Stoneyhill Primary and Pinkie St Peter's Primary School. I normally start my pupils from primary 5 upwards in primary school or perhaps in S1 or S2 and many of my pupils keep playing until S6. First, let's talk a little bit about the woodwind family of instruments. The instruments I most commonly teach in school are the flute, the clarinet, and the saxophone. I'm going to play you them now. So the flute is a lovely high, bright sounding instrument. You produce the sound by blowing across the head joint, much as if you were trying to make a sound by blowing across a bottle. I'm going to play you a few bars of music from The Greatest Showman to let you hear its lovely dreamy side. It's also great for playing fast music and perhaps classical or folk styles. I'm going to play you a little bit of a French piece called Tambourin, which just lets you hear some faster notes. So the clarinet uses a single reed, which is clasped to the mouthpiece to make the sound. You blow into the mouthpiece, which causes the air to vibrate. It's got a very wide range. You can play very low notes. And really high notes. And you can play it in a very wide variety of styles: classical, jazz, popular, folk music. I'm going to play a few bars now of a tune called Stranger on the Shore, which was actually #1 in 1962. So perhaps maybe grandparents might recognise it. So for many of you, the saxophone needs no introduction. You might well recognise it. This is an alto saxophone. Some of my pupils might also play tenor, but in primary in particular we tend to start with alto because they're smaller and more manageable. You can see the mouthpiece and reed are quite similar to that of the clarinet, just a little bit bigger. So it's great fun. You can play in lots of jazzy styles. You'll recognise this tune, I'm sure. From the Pink Panther. One or two of you might get the chance to play oboe or bassoon. These are double reed instruments, so the sound is produced by 2 canes strapped together. I don't have these to show you, but I can play you a short clip where you can hear both instruments. The higher one is the oboe and the lower one the bassoon. So you can hear those instruments have a very reedy sound. They're great for classical music, very much sought after in orchestras. I currently have 1 pupil learning oboe at Stoneyhill and doing really well. So let's talk about the lessons now. You would normally start in primary school in a group of up to 3. You might move on to individual lessons later on. Playing in groups is really important to me as a player and a teacher. We've got lots of opportunities for you to try this, such as at Stoneyhill. We're lucky enough to have Miss Mara teaching brass as well. So on a Tuesday lunchtime, we have a wind band of woodwind and brass pupils. Miss Mara and I are also planning more cluster-wide ensembles so that pupils at Pinkie St Peter's can get involved as well, with brass and woodwind pupils from across the cluster. At Musselburgh Grammar School we have several ensembles. Many of my pupils play in the orchestra, wind band and jazz band. So it's great fun and a great way of making friends. So at the beginning, you would be loaned an instrument for 2 years, after which point you'd be expected to purchase one. I tend to ask you to buy a tutor book if possible. At the beginning we use flute basics, clarinet basics, saxophone basics. These books come with CDs to help you practice, and they would form the basis of your learning for at least the first year, often into the second year. And I will supplement it with other music as well. On oboe and bassoon, I tend to use Abracadabra tutor books. If you play a reed instrument, you would have to buy some reeds as well. On clarinet and saxophone, typically a box of 10 reeds costs about £25 and would last you a good year or so. On oboe or bassoon, they're a bit more expensive, but there are other options like using plastic reeds, which will last a bit longer. So the last thing to talk about is practice. Of course, you need to have some time to dedicate to learning an instrument. At the beginning, it doesn't need to be too much. It can be perhaps 5 times a week or more, and for a few minutes each time, and generally try and build things up over time. The main thing is it's great fun. I hope to see some of you soon, and thanks very much for listening.